Hi there, Eric Templeton with the Merritt Huddle, back with the Willamette Valley market activity for the week ended June 13th, which was last Saturday. And I got to tell you, this looks a lot like it did last week. Not too many changes, so we'll try to keep this brief so I don't sound like a broken record. New listings for the week were 204, and for the last 4 weeks, they've averaged 203. So we're hovering right at that 200 number for new listings on the market. What's going under contract, again, is outpacing what's being listed. So we had 242. Last week we were at 244, and we've averaged 215 for the last 4 weeks. So for the last 4 weeks, we've averaged more going under contract than new listings. Sold units, again, have not caught up. So what's going under contract will eventually sell for the most part. And we continue to not have the closed sales pop yet. So that should be happening any week, I would say. So for the last 4 weeks, we've had 138 closed sales per week compared to 215 going under contract. So this will eventually catch up with this, but it hasn't happened yet. We're about 20% off of last year at the same time, whereas we're at 20% ahead of last year at the same time for under contract. Terminations, we didn't have as many terminations this last week than we've been experiencing, 36 versus 50 for the 4 weeks. Still more than what we'd normally be doing at this time, but fewer. And then our inventory is continuing to go up, but it's not necessarily available inventory because of this number versus this number. So what this means is that you look at your listings, what's going on versus closed sales and terminations. That's what's going off of the MLS. And we continue to creep the inventory up. So we were closer to 2,000 a couple months ago. We're up at 2,150 now. For the last 4 weeks, we've averaged 2,100. And about 20% behind last year. And then price reductions, same story here. We're continuing to see listings that are out there have price reductions, 89 for the week, 82 average for the last 4 weeks, which is way ahead of where we were last year at this time. So typically in June, you don't see people reducing the prices of their homes, but we are seeing that in today's market. So I'm going to flip down through all of this, which if you get this report, you can take a look. This is the newly under contract is the gray. You can see it's way above the orange, which is the sales. This is for the 4 week average. So we continue, as we talked about, to put them under contract pretty quickly. And then I will point out here, this is our inventory level. The prior reports had this graph going all the way across, and I included 2018. So now I've just got 2019 on there compared to 2020. So this was the week in 2019 that we're experiencing. The 24th week, I guess, of the year, which is right here. And then I added this one just to demonstrate that while the inventory is increasing, we're including the pendings and the under contracts with the actives. So increased inventory, but you can see on April 25th, we had about 1,000 active and about 1,000 between bumpable and under contract. And as we go out here, you can see the active dropping. So we're listing them at an okay pace right now, but they're going under contract so quickly that we've got only 818 that are either active or bumpable, and looks like 1334. So over 1,300 that are between under contract and pending, so not really available to buyers. And then I'll go all the way down to our line graph, just to point out everything on the same graph. The gray bar, as always, is what I'm calling the COVID period, and that's the same period in the prior years. So we're sitting out here, and now there's a discernible difference between what's being listed. So we've been right at 200 for the last 2 weeks, and what's going under contract for the 4 week average, excuse me. The last 2 weeks, 4 week rolling average has been about 200, and listings are, I think, at 215, we said. And of course, you got sales down here. And I did go back and look. I was looking at the gap between what's going under contract and what's closing. And typically the first part of the year, you do have a gap where you're putting more under contract. Second part of the year, you're closing more, oranges over the gray. That was the case in 2018. That was the case in 2019. But the biggest gap we've had right now for this 4 week period of time, the average week shows 77 more homes going under contract than closed sales. And you'd have to go back to February of 2019 right here, where you had a gap of 45. So the biggest gap in these 2 years was 45 more going under contract than closing. and we're at 77 right now. So that's still the big story. The phenomena is the buyers out there hungry to make a deal and putting those homes under contract. And then of course you've got this green line here, which is the price reductions, again, continuing to rise in spite of the fact that that the buyers are hungry. So that's it. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next week.